Hello, everybody. I hope all is well with you. We have just gotten two new chapters of Berserk, chapters 365 and 366. And the importance and the implications of these chapters is tremendous. These are the chapters that follow the death, or more so, follow the last works of Miura. This is Berserk beyond Kentaro Miura, carried on by his assistants and close friends. And what is presented to us in these chapters? Before I actually get into the material and substance of the specific chapters, I just want to say the quality is there, the story is there, the art is there. The level of Berserk and the caliber it has set and the standards it has set is met in these chapters. I have not disappointed in reading these two new chapters. And so to the team and the new director of Berserk, you have my praises. This is a very daunting story to take on, and so far it has been done magnificently. So let us get into the chapters. So we are coming off the heels of chapter 364, where the Moonlight Boy, Gutsen, Casca's child, has reverted back to the form of Griffith, the God Hand, Griffith himself. And that was where the last chapter ended off at the reunion of these three, them seeing Griffith for the first time in a long, long time. And we start off the next chapter, 365, with the arrival of Griffith, what his presence does immediately. And we immediately see Poke in the night sky flying over the island, and he and all of the other island inhabitants begin to feel this presence. The arrival of Griffith has shifted something in the island's odd, and it is noticeable, and everybody there feels it. The sheer power and presence Griffith holds in this place is not to be understated. So we follow off with Casca stepping outside, trying to get a good view of what she saw was her child, but has become the man who has caused all this. And this reunion of the three, as you see Casca in the back, Guts in the middle, and Griffith at the other end, it's a reunion that is so seldom. It's so rare to have this occur. And the meaning of it is so grandiose. And what this reunion triggers for Casca is nothing but painful, harmful, traumatic memories as she goes back into her mind and deeper at the sight of Griffith. And you can see she is so shaken. The necklace that was adorned on her neck breaks, as she kind of comes to term that this is Griffith in front of her. This is Griffith in the flesh. A man, or who was a man, who has had a significant effect on both Casca and Guts' lives going forward. Casca's obvious reaction, the brand bleeds in the presence of this evil, malicious being of grandiose power. It bleeds significantly, causing her to scream. She is in distress. And what I love about this chapter, what it does, how the characters react is so true to them and their beings, as Guts simply doesn't react immediately as he sees Griffith, but the rage he feels and the urge to attack, it really is sparked by the scream of Casca and the pain she feels. And that just shows me how much passion and love and care Guts has for Casca, and the anger he must feel at Griffith right now. Just as things are going peaceful, things are kind of settling into, they have their own problems. Casca cannot see Guts and things like that, but things are as peaceful as they have ever been. And for Griffith to show up, the pure audacity of Griffith to show up is what triggers this rage inside Guts. A rage which is his own. An interesting choice is that in his rage, the Berserker armor attempts to, take advantage of the situation, but Guts is able to push it back and suppress it, which makes his own anger in this situation much deeper than it really is, because after seeing the story of Skull Knight and what the armor can truly do and the repercussions of the armor, but not only that, it's the fact that this rage alone is so personal to Guts that he does not want to even be clouded by the blind rage, the senseless rage the armor produces. This is something he wants to take care of himself, and you see it in the next panel as it is Guts, shrouded in the art style where his face is dark and only illuminated by that one eye. The Black Swordsman Guts that many of us saw in the Black Swordsman arc and the Lost Children arc. He is back, and he is coming with a vengeance towards Griffith as he charges towards him, draws his blade, and is about to swing. And that is the end of chapter 365. As short of a chapter that was, what a start, what a match to light in the face of this reunion, and the tension that this has just burst into. So we follow into chapter 366 with what most of us expected. I mean, the presence of Griffith alone, it is such an implication for the amount of power he possesses, and the sheer difference in power Guts is at his current state, not even utilizing the Berserker armor against Griffith in all of his power and presence. And his power is touched on, and his presence is touched on deeply in this chapter, but we'll get into that later. The presence of Griffith, and as Guts attempts to strike him and swing his sword at him, it's futile. He is unable to touch Griffith. Griffith is practically phasing through these blades. He's lit practically in a different dimension and standard of power than Guts. The difference is so obvious and made so clear, and it's really well demonstrated in Guts' inability to even touch him and harm him. It's almost mocking in a way for Griffith to be dodging these attacks with little to no effort, almost as if he doesn't even need to do anything, and just rubbing in Guts' face how different they are in terms of what Guts can do to him, and how almost futile and helpless Guts is. And what I found an interesting choice to be was to have Griffith naked. After, the Moonlight Child is always defaultly naked, but to have Griffith in front of Guts in this form, it's almost a mockery of what innocence is. When a person is naked, they're at their most vulnerable, they're at their most defenseless. Yet here you have this man who is naked with the power of a god, a demon, whatever you want to call it, running circles, completely unfazed by this heavily armored, heavily weaponed Guts. And I think that just adds to the mockery and this twisted, bastardized sense of innocence. And he savors this moment where he is running laps around Guts, being unable to be touched. He savors it, and you can see it in some of the art style, which I really want to touch on. Some of the character design, the character art in these two chapters have been amazing. Just Griffith's malevolence and uptightness and savoring his strength. You can see it in his smirk, his evil smirk, which personally for me, I can't say to others, builded up a deep rage within me. And not only me by this sense, the rage that is displayed and drawn on Guts' face is top tier. The clenching of his teeth, the baring of his fangs, the grimace on his face of pure anger, hatred, and spite against Griffith is beautifully, beautifully portrayed with amazing detail, that which I hope is appreciated by all readers of Berserk, because once again, what a daunting task it is to take on Berserk, and the standards set by art and story and characters by Miura. So once again, the artwork, 10 out of 10. In a sense, there are some panels where you can tell that it is not Miura's art. However, it is the best that we are going to get, and it is done well. So Shirake and Farnese, as they go and observe it from the astral point of view, they truly see Griffith's, I believe it was Griffith's ego, his odd, whatever energy or magic he's displaying is described as a maelstrom, and it's the depiction of it is done very well, as everything is engulfing around Griffith, as he is this kind of center, this eye of the storm that everything is culminating towards. And Shirake herself is worried that she will get pulled in. It is this strong that a very adept user of magic like Shirake is in a whole different league, and she fears being sucked in by this immense power. But this form, the form of the maelstrom, and the different plane of existence Shirake observes this on, does this open up a potential alternate way to defeat Griffith, or a form that Griffith exists in that can be used to their advantage? Because as Guts is having this physical battle, Shirake is making this observation from a totally different plane of view, Whether she can do anything or manipulate anything in that plane is it is up for debate, as she was completely helpless. Truly, she was just an observer in that scene. So the difference in power there is just as much as in the physical world with Guts. But I bring that up to see how we go forward with this, as we are kind of nearing. You can feel it in the writing and the setting that we are kind of in this final stretch going forward. So we kind of want to take whatever we can or interpret whatever we can as we go forward, because I need to see Griffith die, and I think a lot of you want to see that too. And lastly, we have the arrival of Zod. I put my notes aside for this one because it doesn't need anything. Zod speaks for himself. To have this character show up, break the barrier of the island, and immediately swing at Guts. That one panel of Zod's hand striking down at Guts as Guts kind of realizes that there's a danger above him. I think that's one of my favorite panels of the recent Berserk. It's so well drawn. The dynamics and the motion art is beautifully done. And Zod arrives, and Zod stands in front of Guts, preventing him from getting his revenge against Griffith. And I love the reunions. There's so many characters and pieces at play on this island right now that could be possible. Any interaction and meeting is valid. We have Skull Knight on the island. Seeing him and what he does in this moment is going to be fascinating, because a God Hand member and Zod have infiltrated the island. This is not something Skull Knight can just sit down and let happen. He is going to intervene one way or another. So that'll be very interesting to see. The Elf Queen Danan, that'll be also very interesting to see. So like I said, once again, we have all these pieces at play. These things can be mixed and matched at any time for any interesting interaction or conflict. As I can say, man, Berserk has been amazing with Miura. And beyond Miura, it seems truly promising. Once again, and I hope I speak for all the fans in terms of how grateful we are for them tackling this story. And I am satisfied with this chapter, and I truly look forward to the next issue and the next chapter to see where the story goes and where it goes far on from here, years from now. So, thank you very much. I truly hope you enjoyed the chapter and this video. And please leave below your comments and what you thought about this chapter. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Did you have any gripes about it? Or was everything satisfied for you? Thank you very much again for watching, and please have a good day. And remember, keep struggling.